Welcome back, everyone, to the Soft Talk Art Truths podcast. I am your co-host, Jay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? And I'm Shay. Welcome back.
Yeah, as always, thank you for joining us as we embark on this wonderful podcast journey. Uh, I, of course, had to fix the Knicks cap one time before we start. Go Knicks. So,
Just flex a little.
yeah, hopefully by the time this episode comes out, they'll be up 3 games to 0. If not, hey, we'll see. But
Yeah.
go Knicks. Argue with the wall. I don't care how you feel about it. that's so. That's all I'm gonna say because we want to hop right into our discussion. So
Yes.
last episode we had a discussion, Shay, about I guess what we call problematic celebrities, and of course we define for the purposes of the discussion what problematic means. I believe I think we broke them down into 3 categories. Celebrities that are harmful to others, celebrities that are kind of harmful to themselves, I think that will be what we get more into today, and then kind of this third category where there's that line between, are they just more misunderstood or not? But last week we talked about celebrities who have done harm to others. We talked about, uh, excuse me, Chris Brown, Doja Cat. There was a third one, Nicki Minaj, that we did not have time for.
Mhm.
So we will actually kick off the discussion with Miss Minaj, or as some may know her, MAGA Minaj, based on her current political leanings,
Yeah. Yeah.
which we'll get into that. But I guess I want to start off with sort of what seems to me um, a growing sort of mean girl reputation because I remember when Nikki came out, um, like I wouldn't that I don't think I would accuse her of ever being like a girl's girl, but I don't remember her. I remember her being, I guess, more collaborative, I guess, with a lot of female rappers in particular. Um, and to me, it just seems like that's kind of changed as she's gotten more successful, as she got more popular, more hits and whatnot. And it's well documented her beefs with Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Lil Kim. it just it didn't. It just seems like Nicki often behaves like someone who sees new women in rap as threats instead of evidence of the doors that she helped open.
Mhm.
And I just kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, it's a funny thing, right? Because, I mean, as a female, I'm always out to support the ladies, right? Especially a black woman, right? Because I feel like Nikki came out, she opened a lot of doors. She did in rap what no other female has done. And so, you gotta give credit where credit is due. But the what I always find strange, and I'm actually a Nicki fan. I'm not gonna go as far as to say I'm a Barb, right? Because I feel like they're in a different territory, right? So I don't know if every person who can appreciate her lyrical talent is a Barb, right? I think maybe there's a difference in some of us. But what I've noticed, all the names that you mentioned, as you were speaking of her, the funny thing is, prior to there being any conflict, she actually did collaborate with all of the people that you named. And so that's what I always find interesting is how we start off where we're like, yeah, I'm going to support you, we're going to do this collaboration, and all the collaborations she's made with each person we talked about have all been hits, right? So not only is she collaborating, she's collaborating and they're making hits, and then there's some type of beef. And so the only common denominator to the beef would be her, right? Because they're all other people. So what I always try to figure out, so what ends up happening? See, I'm not good at getting into Why do she and Cardi have beef? Why do she and Megan have beef? I don't know. I don't get it. I never dug into it, but I do find that angle of the beef that she has very interesting.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. That's a good point. Yeah, she's collaborated with just about all those. Particularly Mega Stallion, Hot Girl Summer. Like that was a dope song, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, did Meg say something about her? Like did like did she like sneak this, like subtweet? What happened? And it's like, I don't know. Even Cardi, like Cardi, Cardi can be ratchet, but uh, Cardi don't come for you. Cardi responds when you come for her. And she comes for your head,
Yes, that
but
she does. That she does.
but she don't. But to her credit, she don't. I haven't seen her hit first. She just want to make music, um, live life, which I can respect. But I don't understand it's giving. You know, I'm cool with you succeeding as long as you don't outshine me.
That's it. Mhm. It probably is giving that some because, well, if you can't find because we're both sitting here saying the same thing, right? So what happened? Where did the beef come from? So if there's no legitimate beef, then what other source could there be? What other reason could you have to now take issue with someone who you made a hit with? If they didn't disrespect you, and if you say they did, then what is the disrespect? If we don't know about it, then is it behind closed doors? And then I'll take it a step further. Why is it that you would have multiple people who would be initially willing to collaborate with you? And I'm sure that's because they look up to you, right? And why wouldn't they? Because you are in the spot that they all are aspiring to be in. And then after you guys make a huge hit, why would they feel the need to say something that may be taken in that way by you? So, there's a lot of, I think of all those types of things. Like, what did you do that maybe made each one say something that you might not have liked? If they even said something. I'm just trying to delve in a little bit.
No, it makes yeah. So it's a good question, and just to be clear, this isn't a picking on Nicki because there are definitely a lot of male rappers who have had issues with other rappers. I mean, that's how we get all these diss tracks. I think
Sure.
Nas and Jay Z would be a perfect example. LL Cool J and for a while it seemed like every other rapper.
I was gonna
Um,
say we can name. I mean, I think the last one was Cassidy, right? Was Cassidy the last one?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure. He might not have been. There might have been someone after
Man,
that. You know?
had like those 7 year run to just come out.
Yeah.
Man had what? Ice T, Kumo D, Cannabis, like just like I don't know. Is there anybody that you are cool with? But
Yeah.
it feels different in the sense that I think for me at least at the end of the day, like it never for the most part never really diverted from like rap. A lot of it was based on I feel like I'm the better rapper. Yeah, you take shots, but I think all those shots were kind of in the bounds of the battle rap world. With Nicki, it just I don't know. It just seems like there's something personal there. How dare you exist? How dare you how dare you try to like be better than me overall? And it just I don't know. It seems different than all those other beefs that I just talked about, and I don't get it. Just I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? Everybody, I mean, so when you're talking about rapping, I mean, even singing, right? If you look at the singers who are on top or the rappers who are on top, or even some who are not on top, everybody talks about they feel like they're the best. Everybody throws some type of shots, whether we all know who they might be particularly talking about, or maybe they're just ambiguous statements because people just get in there and that's what you do kind of when you're in the booth. So is somebody doing what is in the sport of rap and just talking because that's what they do, and then you take it personal, or I mean, because everybody does the same thing. She does it, and everybody else does it. When she's saying stuff, I mean, every time Nicki puts something out, people are like, oh, is this a shot at this person, that person, what have you? I mean, and she definitely talks cash money shit because, I mean, she got bars. That's just what it is. So whoever she beefs with, I mean, you can say whatever you want about her. My personal opinion is none of them lyrically can mess with her. That's my personal opinion. Her problems are on a different level. They have nothing to do with her lyrical skills.
Yeah. I will say it would appear though that uh, Lil Kim was right when she was talking about about Nicki. At the time, people were upset with her about what she said. Um, but I guess sometimes you're not wrong. You're just early.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's true. I mean, because you know what, and I'm gonna add one person to her feud. That has nothing to do with the other three people that you mentioned. Because I've seen her then starting to take aim at Jay-Z, which is Beyonce's husband, who she again collaborated with and made a huge hit. And if I'm not mistaken, they did they did two, right? I felt like one was on Nicki's. I feel like one was maybe a Nicki CD and one was a Beyonce CD. I think they might have done it twice, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
Uh, Collaborating with Jay-Z or Beyonce.
no, the two of them. Nicki collaborated with Beyonce, right? She did "I'm Feeling
Okay.
Myself," and then I feel
Yep.
like there's another song though. It's not
Yeah.
right.
She did it. I think she did a couple.
I just can't think of the other one off the top of my head, but that's what I'm. But then it's funny, and so now here we are forward. I'm not even really sure what the whole beef is with Jay Z. I don't know. I didn't look into it because there's always a new beef with her, and so I kind of can't go down the rabbit hole every time to see what it is. But it's funny that I thought that her and Beyonce were pretty close, also. So I'm just adding that to the mix for
I
this
think
statement.
there's like accusation of I guess being hypocritical or just not coming to her defense because of some of the things um, that she has said. But I guess I don't particularly particularly blame Beyonce or Jay-Z for distancing themselves from those comments. You know, say what you want about Jay-Z's past. It's well documented that he was into street pharmaceuticals, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he's also the same person that helped pay bail for a lot of Black Lives Matter protesters that were arrested.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't remember hearing a similar sort of story about Nicki Minaj.
That would be correct. That would be
So
correct.
yeah, so like yeah, again, we talked about last episode. Somebody should not be known for the worst thing that they have done. But it's important that they continue to make or try to make forward progress. I would say Jay-Z has done most of that. Um, you know, monogamy, still work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
But but that's personal discussion. That's a personal matter
Yeah.
between him and me. Uh,
But I think in the culture, I think that for someone who started as a rapper, you're absolutely right. I think he stepped well outside of that box, and he did a lot of things, and he has tried to do a lot of things to help people. That's
correct.
documented. It's not because people always say, "Oh, if you're a fan of someone, oh, you always think they're great," but there's difference is if you can actually go and say, "This person actually did this, this, and this," and it's
Yeah,
documented, and we know about it.
correct. And yeah, but uh, it's popular to, popular to hate billionaires, which he is one.
Uh-huh.
Billionaires can be problematic. There's I guess the morality argument that there's no way to ethically or morally become a billionaire because you don't become a billionaire unless you exploit people and yada yada yada. Um, I always look at that as I don't pay attention to what is said. I always pay attention to what is not said. What's not said is that nobody is turning down the opportunity to become a billionaire. Um, like you can talk about how billionaires are bad all you want to. At the end of the day, if someone offers you the opportunity to have $1 billion,
You're going
you're
for
not
it.
turning it. You're not turning it down.
Yeah, you're
So
going for it. You're going for it.
yeah. So I refuse to engage in that talk because it's just not honest. But as you know, yes, billionaires can be problematic. I would say if you wanted to, do something about the billionaire problem, Jay-Z is way down on Jay-Z and Beyonce are way down on the list. Like I wouldn't start at them. There's several that I would start with way before Jay-Z and
Way before
Beyonce.
them.
Okay, even a couple of black ones that I would start with way before Jay-Z and
There's some
Beyonce.
other folks that we can definitely go to before we get to them.
Yes, but you know, going back to Nicki, it definitely wasn't like a sudden shift. It's been there. Signs are always there. But it's just I don't know. It's weird in this act. It doesn't have to be that way. Because she is, you know, one of, if not the like most successful female rapper out there. I don't know if any other um, female rapper has sold more um, sold more records than she has. Like she's
Think so.
very successful.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like
I mean, she's up there. Even now, if you go and you look at all those numbers, like, in light of when, and I say it just because, over the last 2 weeks, everybody's really just been talking about Drake and Iceman. So you see all the numbers coming up, the Spotify numbers. But if you look in those numbers and they have like the top 10 or what have you, she's still there. Like when they're talking about the people who are streaming, her name is still there. She has nothing out right now. So there's no new music, anything. So she's definitely a musical force for sure. I mean, you have to, I definitely feel like you got to respect that. And even though there are other female rappers that have been successful, there's a difference in someone being successful over a large span of time and having multiple projects that they continue to put out that are successful. You can't say, oh, Cardi B's as successful as Nicki Minaj when Cardi B has put out 2 CDs, and I don't know how many CDs Nicki Minaj has put out. I'm just gonna throw a number out and say she has 8 or 10. So she came out and did the same thing over and over and over and over again, and then she jumped on songs with other people and did the same thing. So there's something to be said when anyone does that. Whether you're a rapper, a singer, whatever it is you do, that's not an accident. Yeah, that's not an
no,
accident.
it's not. She's basically a pioneer. She's come further than just about all of the acts that have come before her. Salt and Pepper, MC Light, Queen Latifah, Missy Elliott, uh, Roxanne, all of them. She's kind of standing on their shoulders. I imagine a lot of them were either are or have been rooting for her. She's opened doors for other female rappers to come through, and a lot of them credit her and say that she was their role model, their inspiration, and they're open about they effusive with just how much they revere her. So it was weird that she would then turn around and like have a problem. Like again, like unless something happened, all these people that said something behind the scenes that we're not aware of. Like, what's the problem? You
Yeah.
know?
And you can't be upset if you feel, listen, so I think that another thing in art, right? All different aspects of art. You can't be upset if you feel like someone has aspects of your personality, your swag, whatever it is, your flow, if you're an actor, whatever, because people have idols, people have people that they look up to. And almost everyone, if you talk to someone and they say, oh, I really looked up to this person, right? I'll take Chris Brown for example. He says, oh, I really looked up to Michael Jackson. Well, we can tell, right? If you really pay attention to him, you can tell. I don't know if Nicki's ever said, oh, I looked up to Little Kim. There's no way she couldn't have before she became famous, because Little Kim is the first commercial rap female artist that I remember being really big like that. I don't remember anybody before her that had quite the success that she had. I think she took it to another level, and they had similarities, period, from the time when they came out. I mean, and it's okay to have to look up to someone and take little aspects of what they did and then craft your own portion of it. Beyonce did it with Tina Turner. She's very similar to Tina Turner. I mean, you can go on and say that about a lot of people. So I don't know. So that can't be the issue. If that's the issue, then that's a little strange to me, because I think that's kind of why you do it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like you take a little piece of the people who inspired you, but you make it your own.
Correct.
You don't just steal their flow. You make it your own. I don't know. Maybe she just is having a hip hop midlife crisis. Who knows?
Hip hop? I don't know, because now she done spilled a
The
whole nother thing.
Yeah, the I guess the hip hop equivalent of a midlife crisis.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I guess we all kind of, well, they all kind of go through them. Um, but even with that, what I guess she's 42, 43. Used to be, you didn't see a lot of older rappers, but that's no longer the case. Um, a lot of, and she again is kind of at the forefront of that. Like,
Yeah.
what we consider older is no longer the case. She's just Nicki Minaj. It don't matter how old she is. She could right now drop an album and it probably go platinum.
Absolutely.
Just like her male counterparts.
Yep.
I don't think there's that kind of barrier isn't there anymore. So
Yeah. And so
I
it's,
don't
I
know.
think all that stuff is gone. I don't know. I just can't. Sometimes it just makes me scratch my head, because I do like Nicki Minaj's music, But like I said, that's why she's a perfect example of, like I said last week, of how I had to start to try to kind of separate people from their art, because if I didn't, there might be a lot of people I can't listen to if I didn't adapt to that. There's yeah, there's only one person in particular that I won't listen to any of their music, but because I can't separate it. If it has anything to do with children, if you harm children, or if you harm women, then it's a no for me. I can't separate those two. But the rest of them, I try to. I'm like, I'm not. You can't. Yeah, I don't do kids for sure, so I can't look past that, unfortunately.
Totally get it. Totally agree. I am probably less forgiving in that regard, because there's several that I just, but again, also it's easy for me to just um not listen to a lot of stuff, because I don't lean towards rap that much anyway. So it's like I wasn't really buying the albums to start with. So
Right.
not listening to them ain't really
It's no
no.
big deal.
Yeah, like I was like, there was uh the lyric by Rick Ross, I think in 2011, where he was like, put Molly in a drink and she didn't even know it. I enjoyed it and she didn't even know it. That's Yeah, there's that. I think
I
they had
don't
to
know
actually.
that lyric.
Yeah, there was a song
Mhm.
called, basically, it's an acronym, but basically the song is, you don't even know, but it's like spelled. I can't even remember how to spell it. But there was part of a lyric that Rick Ross said. Yes, something to the effect of I put Molly in a drink, she didn't even know it. Went home and enjoyed it, she didn't even know it. Uh, yeah.
See, that's a problem for me. Those kinds of things. Those are the things that I mean. Uh, somebody put that on wax.
Yeah. I think they went back and re-recorded it, but of course, you can't undo all the other things that was already recorded.
Hey.
I think it came out with the standard half apology. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, and then of course, there's and it gets even. I don't know if harder is the word, but when you get older and start to look back on certain songs, you kind of like, what the hell? Um, for me, it would be Belle Biv DeVoe, uh, Do Me. There's a snippet in there, backstage underage.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, just, huh.
Yes.
Yeah. When it came out, me at 8 years old, just bopping to it. Me at 42 now, like, hmm.
When you're a kid, that all of that stuff just goes over your head. I know
Mm-hmm.
that song, and I never even thought about those words until you just said them. And I've heard this song
Yeah.
many times in my life.
Backstage underage adolescent.
Yeah, I was. It just got worse. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, and he goes on to say something about, I like to do the wild thing right after that.
Uh-huh.
Did he not? I
Yeah.
replied, I'd like to do the wild thing. I was thinking
I
of the words.
reply, I like to do the wild thing. Uh-huh.
Oh, come
Yeah.
on, man.
Something about Jimmy hats and body bags also was in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, hey, underage is cool, but you don't want to get her pregnant or get a disease. I get it.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's definitely what he said. Adolescent, how you doing? Fine, she replied, I'd like to do the wild thing. I don't think I'll be listening to that song anymore now. Wow.
I will also throw in that I got heavy rotation.
Are you kidding me? That's a huge song. I wonder
Yeah.
sometimes if people even, sometimes, what people say about things. They say like if you really want to hide, you just do it in plain sight. So sometimes I wonder if that is a mythology to doing things to where it's so blatant that people kind of miss it. And you might have heard a song a million times, or you might have seen something over and over again, and it's so blatant it goes over your head.
Hmm. But it goes to the question, like, where where do you draw the line? Because, do you now go back through every artist and scour their lyrics for questionable lyrics?
Mm.
You also got the I hate saying it, but the true, like the times were a little different in the 80s. Not saying that that dealing with underage kids was fully acceptable, but it the opposition, I guess, or the criticism wasn't as vocal as it is now. Maybe part of that I believe is because social media wasn't a thing in the 80s. Like,
Correct.
you know, if if we had social media when R. Kelly was dealing with Aaliyah, would R. Kelly be dealing with Aaliyah? I don't know. A lot of times, it's not just that they happen. It's not just because times are different, but you know, we, the public, didn't know about these things because they were done on the wraps. And like I said before, there was no social media, but it doesn't mean it wasn't wrong. But how do you go back and you know legislate all these things? Is it fair to legislate all these things? Is there a statute, quote unquote, statute of limitations? I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I know how those things make me feel, and I and I would not be listening to some of those songs.
Sure, sure.
There and there are many. Yeah, there are a lot. Some of our favorite artists. There's a couple of things. Prince is kind of in there somewhere. It, there's there's a song from my mom's childhood, Superfly. I believe there's a line called "Have some coke, have some weed." You know, um,
There you go.
yeah. But it's funny how though our parents would criticize hip hop talking about drug culture while listening to Superfly. And then when you tell them about this, they act like they just realize, oh yeah, that's a lyric in there.
Some of their favorite artists were on, but some of those people all back from them areas. If you think about it, from like all those eras, they were on stage high as kites. They were performing high. I mean, it was all about. There's no way you didn't know the people on drugs. I mean, because nowadays, we have all the biopics that they do. So they like to do stories about everyone. So you can learn about someone that you didn't know anything about nowadays. So you go back and I mean the commonality, they was all fired up back in the day. They was all getting high. They was all drinking. A lot of this stuff, even even that's, I think maybe the social media thing has a lot to do with even that being more prevalent. Because I don't know if it's not that it wasn't happening. I think maybe there just wasn't the same spotlight on a lot of things. Because if you think about it, it sure seems like it was happening, but you couldn't see it so readily. And then when you were talking about, as you were talking about the underage situation with the males. So what I start to think about is things like The Color Purple, right? So that's a movie that I saw as a kid, and I'm like, oh, so here there's men that are marrying underage girls. Their parents are giving them permission to marry these girls. And this is what's the time era? The 19 is it the 40s?
Believe so.
I feel like it might be the 1940s. And so sometimes I think that maybe that again goes back to kind of like things that are ingrained, right, in the culture, in the fabric somewhat, because it's not a new thing for men to deal with underage girls. It's been going on for a long time. If some people from down south, I have a family member from down south that was married when they were 13 to a grown man. So, I think about those things and then I'm like, so is that why sometimes some people don't see it so much as taboo and so much wrong as it really is?
I don't know. I know this is a tangent, but I actually like this tangent. Well, not like the subject, but I think there's something that should be discussed more in depth. But yeah, I never understood the appeal of or the attraction, I guess, between like it's typically older men and very younger girls, basically. Forget even young women, just girls. um, let's just call them what they are. Um, and it's not just men. Like in general, I'm large age gaps just creep me the fuck out. Um, they do. But again, majority of the time it's with a much older man and a young girl. Emphasis on young, and you hear like some of the rationale, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help. a lot of them tend to revolve around sex. You know, they want to be like their first whatever, or they want to be the one to like quote unquote teach this person something. And I'm like, motherfucker, you can't even deal with people your age. What the fuck are you gonna teach? Like it just it makes no sense
Hmm.
when you actually get down to it. So you know, it was a podcast. I have no idea what his name is, but basically he came his rationale when someone asked, what is the like what do you have in common, I guess, with someone who's 10, 15, 20 years younger than you are? And he was like sexual compatibility. And I was like, okay, somebody 20 years younger than this person would be like in their teens, maybe 18, 19. But
Mm.
an 18, 19-year-old, the average 18, 19-year-old compared to, I don't know, the average person his age doesn't know shit about sex.
Correct.
Don't know what they're doing. So if you're compatible with that, you're basically saying that you have no idea what you're doing.
Right.
Because as we all know, words mean things.
Correct.
And words have a huge matter. So if you're compatible with someone who has no idea what the hell they're doing, that tells me a lot more about you than that person.
It sure does. Or perhaps you went that way because the people that know what they're doing don't like what you're doing because you're not doing it right. So you went somewhere where they don't know what you're supposed to do. So everything seems right then. That's interesting. I mean, maybe I just know that I've heard stories and I've heard it for a long time about men and girls, because they're not underage women, they're girls, right? When you're talking about people who are 14 and 15, 13, those are girls. And some of them, and it's even done sometimes under a religious guise, you know? And so it seems to show up in all different aspects of life. Like here you are quoting, lyrics from years ago and I didn't even realize it was there. And then you can have people that'll tell you the stories about stuff from years ago. And so it just seems like this is something, I'm not sure what the fascination of it is. And I would imagine that when all those people were giving up their daughters and things, and where we said that was the 1940s, right? So I guess it wasn't illegal.
It varies from state to state.
So I mean, I was gonna say even now it varies though, age wise from state to state.
Yeah, but also there are a handful of states, and like I'll let you guess, what region of the country that they're in, are trying to institute and pass legislation that lowers the age of consent.
See?
Yeah. Again, I'll let you guess what part of the country that's in. I'll just say you don't see that shit in New York or New Jersey.
No, it's not over
Um,
here.
it's
Mm-mm.
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah.
That's very
Uh,
interesting. I wonder if some of these same states are some of the states that feel like women don't know what would be right or wrong for their own bodies.
yes,
Kind of sounds that way. Just throwing it out there.
yeah. I would agree. I mean, every state's kind of like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah, at this point, a lot of them are like that. There's a few of them that are pretty bad.
yeah, there are a few there are some overachievers and
Yeah, for sure.
trying to oppress women or take them back to the good old days where, in opinion, were things that they couldn't have.
Correct.
Or agency over any aspect of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That to me, like I am obviously not a fan of any of these things. Uh, but just like how I'm also not a fan of infidelity, um, it ain't just because I'm a good dude. It's to me just a lot of work. Like I said before, the big reason I don't cheat is because if you have a problem with your woman, you don't go out and get another woman because you know you got is two problems. Okay, it ain't because I'm a good dude. Like, okay, I I'm not much of a talker. Don't let the podcast fool you. I ain't one for all the chit chat. Like I barely got enough in. If my future wife ever said, ever even thinks that I'm stepping out, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna look her dead in the eye and tell her, listen, I barely have enough energy to talk to you. Who else am I talking to? Okay, this conversation right now is dreaming. Okay, I don't like phone calls. Okay, I can't commit to dinner plans 8 hours from now because I love canceled plans. So like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna schedule a fling and then cancel it.
That's
Like,
actually pretty funny.
what?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's just me. So like I have that same sort of attitude when it comes to these things. Like you trying so hard to like strip women of their agency and take them back to they couldn't have bank accounts and all your credit cards. It's like to me, that just it sounds like you just want a child, and children are a lot of work.
They sure are. They
That's a
sure
lot.
are.
Like that sounds like a lot of fucking work to me.
Yeah, you can
Okay,
skip that part. Skip that part.
yeah, like you want if you want someone to a baby that much, just get a dog, man.
Yep, they're easy.
They
They're
are easy,
easier than
and
humans.
yeah, and they're easy and they don't hang around as long as humans. They get about 14, 15. They get a little bit too old, take them in the back.
Yeah,
But
they're
like these humans stay around for
decades.
decades, decades.
Decades.
Like,
Yeah,
like I
you see
said,
the
folks,
decades.
like I hold a lot of I guess what would be called feminist ideals, but it ain't because I'm a good dude. It's just because like in general I'm just lazy, um, and don't like people that much. So I don't want to like I see those things as doing things that would have more people in my life, and no.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you, huh?
But yeah, also it's wrong. So there's that. I just want to be clear. When folks say, "Oh, Jay, you're a good dude," uh, uh, I'm practical. I'm, I'm practical, and I can see down the road the different roads that things can take, and I just see I don't really want to be part of that. I don't have the energy to do it now. Like now, say, well, if I had the energy, I still wouldn't do it because that's where it being wrong comes into play. I tend to also want to be on the right side of history, so there's that. Uh, I think that like that personally is very important. I like being on the right side of history.
I hear
It,
you. For sure.
it it's better over here. It smells nice.
That was nice. Yeah.
But yeah, so this was an interesting tangent, but I did find a way to relate it back to Nicki Minaj, and that is through, I guess, her soon-to-be ex-husband, because he got some charges, and I guess he's officially a registered sex offender.
Yep.
So
Is
there
she
you go.
yours? I didn't have no problem.
Uh, yeah, I think I believe he got somebody that wasn't Nicki Minaj pregnant.
Oh, Mr. Petty. My. Wow, that's oh my, oh my, oh my. That's a lot of things all wrapped up into one. Wow. I didn't hear that. I missed that. I remember not too long ago where she was saying something similar to Cardi B. So that's
Hmm.
interesting. I didn't hear that part.
Oh
Wow.
yeah.
She went to bat for him too. So that's
Oh, she went to bat for him.
oh my
Ooh.
goodness. Damn, Nikki, you went to bat for this man there. I know you sick right now. I know you sick, sis.
Yeah, and that's also a big reason. That partly plays into how she goes after all these other rappers,
Yeah,
because it's like, how you coming after me, like, Cardi is like, listen, I'll at you, but I ain't a sex offender.
right.
Like, you got to, like, like,
No, they're gonna bring it up quick. That's gonna be one of the first
seriously,
things that they say.
like, cool. I got multiple kids by multiple men. At least their daddy can go past the school. Okay, like,
And the funny thing is, I think that like, because a lot of times, people will be like, say certain things are off limits, right? But when a person crosses a line a lot, then other people now feel obliged to do the same, right? Some of the lines that they might not have crossed, now they start to cross. So it's like, well, you saying stuff, or maybe you didn't say nothing about that, but since you said something, you thought you could come out your face. Now I'm gonna talk about your husband being a sex offender, or I've heard people make little comments about her son. Jay-Z did it last week. Whatever he was saying in that freestyle, sound like he was saying something. So these are things that you don't normally hear people say. Usually don't that's like the taboo, right? The stuff you don't say. But they say it to her.
yeah, because she goes after people. Like,
Yep.
I don't, and like, you can't do that and have all these other things going on with you. But yeah, like, it's the online reports would suggest that Nicki removed him from their home. I guess there are rumors that he cheated and got another woman pregnant. Um, Nothing official has been said, but
So this is
uh,
recent.
this happened in the April of this year.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh,
and I guess it caught attention because he's a he's a registered sex offender. He has a registered where he lives, and he apparently registered uh, the address. I guess he put down an address, I guess, in New York, as opposed to the house that he shares
with her.
with with her.
Uh-huh.
So the obvious question is, why would you do this? Because she does not live at that address in New York. So
Okay. So that's interesting. Yeah, I missed that one. I missed it. Okay. Well, she's definitely gonna get some backlash from that.
oh yeah. Um, Speaking of backlash, you know, let's I guess we can pivot to her pivot over to Magaland. so,
Oh gosh. Hmm.
so some people feel that it's like a sudden shift for Nicki to supporting MAGA, but I don't look at it as really any one thing. It's more of a series of things she said and has done. I think it started back in 2021. She sent out a tweet that she wasn't going to the Met Gala because of the vaccine requirements that they had. Um, and then I guess she shared something about a cousin's friend apparently had swollen testicles after getting the COVID vaccine. um, I, that tweet, exploded, and you had the obvious, medical professionals criticized it, anti-vaccine folks applauded it. Um, Politicians, commentators all had their say. Um, Politicians and commentators on the right praised her for asking questions, even though that wasn't a question. That was just a tweet without any sort of factual basis
Right.
or evidence. No.
Yeah.
So, to be clear, and this is, you know, she never, I don't think to this day she's ever come by and said, I'm conservative, or I'm conservative. It's always, I'm not going to let people tell me what to think. The thing is that's kind of what conservatives do, where people who are conservative or lean conservative, Jesus Christ, or identify as Republicans say, it's like you can't just say what you are. It's always like I'm not,
Right. Right.
I'm a free thinker. I'm an independent thinker. I don't want people
Correct.
to tell me what to do. But yet all of you say this thing, say these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you ask a Democrat what they are, they tell you I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal.
Correct.
None of this like mealy mouth nonsense.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's very
So
muddy water with them. They have everything requires an explanation, and it's not an explanation. You just are what you are.
yeah, um, part of me, and I feel like part of me thinks that part of me understand that. Like if you were if you were on the right side of history, you wouldn't feel the need to like have all these qualifiers and do all this explaining. Like stand on it. But after the vaccine controversy, a lot of commentators, of course, praised her as some of my favorite keywords. Truth teller, free thinker, standing up to the elites. She is one of the elites. Resisting groupthink. Love that word.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
always comes into play when, when we're doing sort of these things. She there seemed to be a lot of overlap between her audience and the audiences that were consuming a lot of anti-vaccine content, anti-media content, and obviously a lot of MAGA adjacent messaging. I mean, yeah, even with all of that, that doesn't automatically make somebody MAGA, I guess. you know, there is that. Um, but it definitely changed how people perceive her, particularly her black fans, um, particularly her black female fans, because you know, you can say you have different political opinions, you can have, different opinions in general. Just that it's funny how those opinions always seem to be shared by people who, if they had their way, we wouldn't be here.
Right. Right.
That's the
Right.
part that people want to ignore. It's like you keep, it's
Yeah.
like,
Can't ignore it.
it's like, you know, you hold the same opinions as people who are racist, people who are anti-black, anti-women, anti all these things, but you're not those, you're not that. That doesn't make
Right.
sense.
Right.
Like I'm not a Nazi, so you're not going to see me associating, hanging out with, uh, repeating Nazi propaganda because that's not who I am. I'm not anti-Semitic, so you're not going to see me hanging around people who disparage Jews.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I'm not talking about it
Right.
or I'm
Typically, you
not saying
distance yourself from it, though.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that not only am I going to distance myself from it, I'm going to talk against it. I'm going to say
Mm-hmm.
that's wrong because there's
Mm-hmm.
also people who think just because they're not participating in racist talk that automatically makes them not racist or that makes them good. And I think what a lot of people refuse to understand is, you know, simply not being racist, simply not being anti-Semitic, simply not being uh, misogynist or all those things. That's not the standard for being a good person. That's just the standard for not being a bad one.
Right. Right.
Like being a good person it's an active thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fall into being a good person. You can't back into it.
Right. For sure. No, it takes work. It's active. It's active work, and that is true. A lot of people, they think, oh, I didn't, I didn't say anything, or even if you're in a room or you're sitting right by somebody and they say something or they do something, that is you think is wrong. If you don't say anything, most people will think your silence is agreement. I was telling my kids, so, I watch a lot of ID. I'm gonna tell you how crimes go is if I kill someone and you are there with me, you do not have to kill that person. But if you allow me to kill that person and you watch and you know every single thing and you never go to the cops, when they come to you, they say, hey, what happened? You say, oh, I don't know anything. What's gonna happen when they come back and they find out? Who's going to jail? I'm going to jail, but who else is catching a charge? You.
Hmm.
Because you can't just say, because I was just there and I didn't do anything, that I'm absolved from wrongdoing. That's not the way it works. You have to, you go back and you say, hey, yeah, you know what? I didn't do anything, but this person did. You speak against it. So it's the same thing. That's how I equate it to him. So if you're sitting there, somebody does something wrong, you speak up. You know, you speak up for what you believe in, what you think is right.
Correct. And yeah, that's exactly it. And going back to Nikki, like yeah, there's she didn't say a lot of things that the really racist and anti-black commentators and politicians say, but she didn't come out against it.
She did
You
not.
know. Okay.
But
Um,
what she did do though is that she came and she said some very flattering and very admirational things about people that do say and do things. And that's what makes her seem just as culpable as them to me. Not even so much as that she just didn't say anything that it was wrong, but if you are praising people who act and behave and say certain types of things, to me, you're the same. You don't ever have to say what they say. You don't have to echo what they're saying. But if you're praising them, what are you doing?
exactly. Like, if it walks like a duck, quack like a duck, it's not a damn mongoose. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's like if people aren't explicitly doing something or explicitly saying something, then they're not a part of it. And like that's not the case. Like I said before, if somebody is murdering somebody and you're in the room and you have the ability to do or say something, like you don't got to stop them from killing this person, but if there's a few things that you can do and you just sit there, yeah, you're liable.
You
You're
sure?
culpable. You might not catch the same charge, but you're gonna get something.
You're getting something. They lacing you.
you get, you get something.
Yep.
Okay. You might again. You're not gonna be in the same cell, but you're gonna be in the one next to him.
For sure.
Good job. Okay. Good job.
Yep.
Like, it's the
That
same
is
thing
the
with
way it
her. Like,
works.
yeah, like okay, cool. You didn't say this about women or black people or gays or LGBT. But yeah, like you said, you're praising people who have. You're praising, you're closing up to people who are actively trying to take away the rights and freedoms of a community that you belong to.
Yep.
Like you are a black woman. They are they are coming up with laws specifically to limit or that are going to hurt black women the most. And you're closing up to them because you think that you're going to be spared this? No.
Nope. Nope.
Um and something I always, I'm gonna have a lot of sayings, but I always say, keep an eye out on the people who cheer for you and the people who are against you. You know, it would appear that currently the people cheering loudest for Nicki are the people who, you know, are people who oppose causes that many black communities care about. Another way to say that is the people who are cheering loudest for Nicki are the ones who seem to be the most determined to send black people back
Yes.
to wherever they think black people belong.
Right. Right.
Um, I would have a problem with that. Like, why are these people cheering for me? Particularly if I don't hold the beliefs that they have. Like, if I'm not into what they're selling, saying, and doing, why are they cheering for me?
Correct. Correct. Why would they?
Why would they?
What would be the reason for them to? And even if you think that you being buddy buddy is going to help you in some way, you have a whole lineage behind you. Is that going to help every member of your family who are all black as well? Right? She has a sister too, right? Yeah. So I mean, you got a sister. I mean, yeah. It's just I don't know. I think that's my rub with her. Or overall, it's like I think maybe because people were saying, oh, well, she's not a citizen, which I didn't know. I didn't know that much about her, but I saw them saying on social media that they felt like she was maybe doing that because she's not a citizen and she didn't want to get caught up in, I guess, all the things they're doing for people who aren't citizens. But I was like, but yeah, but it's not just her. She's got. It's not just you. So that to me is that makes it worse because that's a selfish move.
Yeah. And it's also silly because cool, she's not a citizen, but she's been here long enough and she's been wealthy and influential long enough where she could have become a citizen.
Why?
Like
Yeah, why not?
she could have gotten that speed track because she's rich enough, wealthy enough, famous enough. I say that because it's happened.
Yeah.
Like, like she could have gotten, um, but take that away. You're still closing up to somebody as I guess an immigrant with someone who is doing their damnedest to kick out all of the well all the brown immigrants. Uh, some of the white ones are okay, I guess.
I guess.
It's
I
not
mean,
it's not all of them. It's just the brown ones. Let's call a spade a spade. Um, but that's who you're championing, and it's it's just so many contradictions. Her image was and is still tied to black women first and foremost. You know, women empowerment, uh, being an outsider because black, I don't know who's more of an outsider than black women in society speaking, and then challenging systems. Hip hop still is a male dominated space, and here you are, like the best selling, highest selling female rapper probably of all time, one of the most commercially
yep,
successful rappers, male or female,
yep,
of all time.
yep,
Um, you know, someone who's not from this country making it big in the hip hop industry as an outsider. So like you have ties to all these things, and because of that, people see themselves in you.
right,
And you've literally inspired so many others. And now it's like you're against now that you've made it, you're against all these things.
right, yep. I mean, and then you even, I mean, even if you want to say, I'm gonna take it a step further and say, I mean, so no, okay, yeah, so you're an immigrant, right? So you're not a citizen. But you also took and exploited the other part of the culture, right? Which is the full black culture, right? You out here in the heart of Queens, you out here living it up in the hip hop culture, right? All these people that you're surrounding yourself with, And all those people that were supporting you are all the people that these people that you are cozying up to are trying to oppress. That's all those people. That's all those people that helped get you where you were at. And it was all good when you were coming up and you were doing all the freestyles and you're making the videos and everybody's around you. You want to go to the hood, you want to make the videos. But those are the people that love you, and those are the people that are most affected by what the people who you think are so great are doing.
Uh, so I will also take it a step further. That's what we do here. Because I was weighing bringing this up, but I'm like, F it, well, that's what we do here. We don't hold back. There's another kind of slice to this discussion, which one of my friends actually let me know about, and it's I think I forget if I told you offline, but it's like water the water blacks versus the land blacks.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And it's not just with Nicki, but I think it applies to Nicki because that she is born in Trinidad and Tobago and came to the U.S. But so this can be a whole other discussion, so I'll just try to condense it for time. But water blacks are um, people whose ancestry comes more so through the Caribbean or across the Atlantic. Whereas the land blacks are the Black Americans whose lineage traces through slavery and Reconstruction. Now again, it's not a 100% thing. Very few things are, but there's sort of, I don't know, the attitude, I guess, that is held by people who would fall under the water blacks label. Um, it's just saying, all skin folk and kinfolk. It's kind of where this comes in.
Mm.
There's a some of the, I guess, criticisms that Black Americans have of non non-American Black, I should say, is that sometimes they feel that they're better than us, or that they feel that we're lazy or we don't work hard and we always come up with an excuse.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I will say that it's interesting that people call Black Americans lazy ever since we stopped working for free. But what do I know?
Right, right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but there like I said, there are some tensions there, and there have been enough people have faced them where I feel that there is some credit to them. Where it comes with Nicki Minaj is that it would appear that, she's more than happy to benefit from Black American culture, music, and audiences, but when there are issues that specifically affect Black Americans, she doesn't show that same level of solidarity.
Mm. Okay.
And that is a complaint that we have had, or not even a complaint, it's something that we have observed
Mm-hmm.
from many people. Um, it sucks. But we wouldn't call it out if it wasn't there. Um, Now again, I don't want to get too much into it because you know this can lead to a whole who's really black conversation, and that's not what this episode is about. But you know the there is something to be said about the fact that Nicki Minaj has occasionally aligned herself with people or movements that are viewed as hostile to Black American interests. She seems to be disconnected from issues that strongly resonate specifically with Black Americans. So you can call it anti-establishment, or I think some people call her a rebel. But are you really a rebel? Like, is that what a rebel is? Just It- just like,
Right.
I think a lot. I think we're just trying to hide behind words instead of just, if you're gonna be anti-black, be anti-black. Just stand on it.
Correct.
Like don't try to play in our face
Well,
like you're on our side.
right.
Like you're on our side.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't care, you don't care. I mean, just stay over there, do whatever it is you're doing. And here's the thing, right? So the interesting thing about all of this, because I see she still like, I think she took down one of her social media accounts. I want to say maybe she's not on Instagram anymore. I think they probably tore her up on Instagram. I guess she said, "I'm getting the hell up out of here." But I think she's still on Twitter, right? Which I wouldn't be surprised if she was on there, right? That would make sense to me that she would still be there. Um, but so now, I mean, you are a rapper, and so before all of this stuff came up, I was hearing rumblings of talks about dropping more music, new music. And so, where do you go with your music when you go to make another project from here? So, what kind of music would you try to make? What kind of songs would you be making at this point in your life? And who do you think would be identifying with it? I don't know. I don't think she can make the same music. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
You're gonna do a country album.
Listen, maybe. I mean,
Cowboy Minaj coming out.
maybe I don't. I mean, that was what I thought about when we were going to talk about. I was like, so that's so because you're talking about somebody who raps. So now, what do you rap about? Do you talk about this stuff in your raps? Because rappers have a tendency to talk about their life. What are you going to talk about now? You going to talk about your husband? Cardi talked about hers. I mean, see, she's got a different. Her persona's a little bit different, right? Because she's very guarded. She likes to talk a lot, but she's still guarded in a sense. If you understand what I'm saying, like she'll run her mouth, but she don't really want to let you know about all of her insecurities or all her issues, whatever she has going on. Everything was going to be perfect from her standpoint. Where these other women are pretty open and vocal about things. I mean, Meg's gonna tell you about somebody cheating on her, and she's gonna tell you, I don't care, I slept with 5 people and that's my business. Cardi's gonna tell you my husband cheated on me, all those things. But you don't usually talk that way. So now that so many things have changed in your life, it would just be interesting to see what kind of creative lane she takes when she decides to put out music, if she does.
And I mean, to be fair, you know, sleeping with however many men you sleep with, or having your baby, being cheated on by a baby daddy, I think that still plays better than my husband is a registered sex offender.
Oh no, she ain't never rapping about that.
I don't
She ain't
think.
rapping about that. No. No, she would have been. Listen, if that's the case, she would have been said it. When she talks now, she does talk about him, but she don't say that. She's had said things about him in her songs, but she definitely ain't saying that. I
Yeah,
imagine
or
it's a
my kids on the spectrum can't really rap about that.
my brother's a sex offender too.
Mm,
Just saying, the brother's in jail.
yeah. So yeah, I understand why she keeps things close to the vest. Like, they're just some things you can't put to a beat.
Yeah.
It just won't work. But you also gotta be like you also gotta be aware that other people might be aware of these things and act accordingly. Like you can't come at this all these folks. Like I said before, when you have all these things going on and people know these things, because you ain't gonna talk about them. But if you poke the bear,
They will,
yeah.
for sure.
Okay, you what did Carter say? You just mad because you just mad because your son's favorite color is 5. Is that what you said? Like,
So, that's so.
right?
But you know what? But see, she did that, and and Cardi came back and she made it clear because when people were like, "Oh, you don't talk about people's kids," she said, "No, no, wait a minute." And she talked about my daughter. Like she had something to say about my daughter. So I felt like, once you talk about my kid, hey, the gloves is off. We just street fighting now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And ain't no matches. We just fighting. We going blow for blow. So I mean, it kind of is what it is. Yeah.
yeah.
And I've heard rumblings. I don't know if you have, but I've seen things here and there. And I don't know if it's because of her strange behavior, but I'm going to say no, because I've heard this for quite a while about drug use here and there.
I don't know.
So I don't know if that's a thing or if it's not. I've heard things like that. That would explain some things. That would put a little bit more perspective into some things. Not from, okay, attending a MAGA event or something, but sometimes, she has these rants on social media that she goes on, and sometimes her thoughts seem incongruent. I'm a healthcare provider, so sometimes even when I'm trying not to assess people, I can't help but to assess people. So some of the things I see from her, I'm like, oh my gosh, she looks like she's manic.
Yeah. But kind of how I think I said on a previous episode. Why is it that you know whether it's drug use, mental issues, she's manic, insert affliction here. Why is it always that it makes the person racist, anti-Semitic, anti-black, conservative, real conservative, crazy, really uh, religiously nuts? Like
Yeah.
it never makes them donate to the poor. Is what I'm
No, it
saying.
does
It,
not.
ne- it never like
No,
it
it
never
does
it
not.
never makes them open the it never makes them open the school.
Yep.
Okay, it
Yeah.
never like what why
It's not the good things that they do, and because you know what, and I don't think even if she ever did do drugs, or even if she has mental illness, I don't think it has anything to do with those other things. I think that that's just, I think they're separate issues. Remember, I was telling you last episode, I don't feel like they are all inclusive, and I don't like when people try to make them be, because they're not. Some things you would be able to say, like, if you're looking at something, even if you say someone like Kanye, oh, he's bipolar. Okay. So I can tell at times when he's manic, right? So that would make sense to me when I see him, certain ways he speaks, or certain times when he's in a manic phase, or even if it's online, whether he's writing it or he's speaking it, I can see it. That would make sense. That has nothing to do with him saying things about Jewish people. One like, one has not, like, mental health illness is not doesn't make you a racist. It doesn't make you a pedophile. It doesn't, whatever you want to say, whatever the bad thing is about any person you're speaking of, mental illness is not the cause of whatever that is.
just once I like to see one of these celebrities like go into a manic state and like try to end world hunger,
Yeah.
like or like in poverty, right? It's just like
Why not? Yeah. Yeah.
it's,
Do something for other people.
yeah, and then be like, oh, he was manic.
Yep.
He ended world hunger. He was manic.
Yeah, go someplace, give away 5 million or something, and the next day say, "Oh my gosh, I was so manic, I didn't know. I just wanted to feed, the whole city. Thank you. That's what we want you to do. That's what we want. We want that kind of manic episode. Go buy a whole bunch of clothes, go buy out the Target or something, and go give it to people. Do something, like do those kinds of things you don't see people doing. Not this weird stuff.
Exactly. He was on he snorted a whole bunch of cocaine and filled every pothole on Fifth Avenue.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so
Right? Yes. 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 Yes.
something useful. Like he's manic. He broke into the train yard, stole a train, but for the first time in the MTA history, that train was on time all day.
Right. Exactly.
Okay,
There you
first,
go. There you go.
First time that the F train was ever on time all day, like
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah,
Okay, like
do something like that's the kind of stuff we want to see people do for real. Because every time and you're right. It's always when it's something. Anytime someone does something, I guess that people consider to be outside of the norm, there has to be. It can't just be the person. It can't just be they are this person. They have to have something. Oh, maybe they're depressed. Maybe they're anxious. Maybe they're bipolar. No, sometimes people are just asses.
yes, yeah.
Men and
Sometimes you're
women.
just correct. Sometimes you're just an asshole, and these things just enhance that.
That's all it does.
That's all it does.
Most, I mean, yeah, it's this really the truth. Like most of the time when you see people, if they are behaving in a certain way, even if they are on drugs or if they're a drinker or what have you, the things that people complain about, so those are really traits that they're already inherent in them. It's the substance that ostracizes it. It's not, most of the time that stuff doesn't just come from nowhere. Yeah, and very rarely does it just come from nowhere. You'd have to have personality disorder, and she doesn't. Even though she tries to tell us she has 5 personalities, that's that's not the cause of what we got going on here.
Yeah, it is not. So yeah, like I said, I'm not advocating drug use. I'm just saying, it'd be interesting to see someone do this and then start just fixing problems that we have.
Yeah, do the right thing. Help people out. Yeah, not always do something that's detrimental. Because that's what it seems to be. It's either detrimental to themselves or others. It would be nice to see the other side. I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. I would love to see it. Somebody just be like, "Why did he do all that?" Or "Why did she do that?" Instead of the opposite side.
Yeah. Why did she fund, a thousand a thousand black students college funds? She
Correct.
on she's on that stuff.
Yes.
She's on that stuff.
Yes. That's what I mean. That's stuff we want to see, right?
Yeah.
There's
That's
people out here that can't even pay their mortgage or their rent or what have you. Go give some money to one of the organizations for housing. Pick a city.
exactly.
Pick any city. Nowadays, shit, go into any supermarket and buy everybody's food in the supermarket.
Hmm.
You could just
Better yet, better yet, buy the market and give the food away for free. You know,
you can definitely do all of that. Yeah, you can do all of that.
and
Yes.
then say you were depressed.
Yep. Yep. And just say I felt so bad that doing for others was gonna make me feel better, especially when you have it, and they write it off anyway.
Exactly. And that's the excuse I want to hear. I was so depressed, I was manic, or I was whatever, I was struck out, and doing something for others is the only way that I could cope.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
what
I want to hear.
better. Yes.
Only thing that make me feel better is buying these 50 houses
Yes.
for the different people.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Doing for listen, there's nothing wrong with that. That actually should make you feel better.
Mhm.
Especially, if I had, I would give. Why not? I would definitely. It would make me feel better to know I'm helping someone else. Better do that than do something that's going to cause you more of a headache down the line. So but all these folks are kind of like this. They're similar, and it's funny because they kind of the big ones that have these issues. They kind of end up bumping heads with each other somewhere along the lines too. You know, on their journeys. I think you might have, like Chris Brown, Nicki Minaj, Kanye, like somewhere in between. There might have been something with any or all of them at some point. So I think that I said this last week, but I do still think that fame plays a big part of just I think it gives these people these grandiose thoughts. because there's so many celebrities that do such egregious things and say such egregious things, and I think that having all those yes ma'am and yes sir people around you mess your head up a little bit, because I think they really think they can say or do anything and that will always forgive them and that it'll always be okay, which is, interesting.
No, it is. You're right, because like you get to a certain level and like you start testing and pushing boundaries, seeing what you can get away with. And unfortunately, like I said, there's when you get to a level of fame, level of wealth, whatever, um, it's not in other people's interest to say no or to hold you accountable for certain things. Um, it's I don't know if better is the word I'll use, but um, we're seeing more of like celebrity bad behavior because of the internet and whatnot. But still the reaction isn't from the people in their circle.
No,
More
it's
often than
not.
not, it's us. It's
It's
oh my
us.
god, this behavior,
Yes.
and then you start hearing the stories from the inner
Correct.
circle. Well, he was, he always was pissing on people. I was just
Uh-huh.
afraid. It's like, well,
Uh-huh.
oh.
Yeah, and these people I've known for decades. Sometimes they know for decades. You're right. It comes from the public. It doesn't come from the circle, because the circle is a whole bunch of yes ma'am, yes sirs.
Mm-hmm.
It's an inflated reality. They don't live in the real world anymore. They just live in whatever their little bubble is. Yeah. So there's so many of them you can think of, and you're like, yeah, it's obvious that you're a little bit detached from the everyday reality that we live in. So I don't know if that'll ever change, because when you have whether you work for someone or you're the family member or a close friend, a confidant, whatever you are, if you're in their circle, it fares you well, you know? And so that's why people don't say no. That's why people don't challenge those people, because they're afraid that if you challenge them, what's going to happen? They're just going to tell you, bye, get out of here. I don't, if you don't tell me yes, I'll find someone else who will. Or if you want to challenge me, I'm not going for it. I'll just replace you with someone else who won't do that.
So I don't know what the moral here is. It sounds like the moral should be don't be rich and famous, but I don't believe that. Uh, maybe just listen. Don't. Again, I guess I would say the moral was probably always be yourself, unless you're an asshole, and then in that case be less of yourself.
Yes.
I think you will steer clear of a lot of trouble if you follow Jay's philosophy.
I'm going to second that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I think so many things can flow from that. For example, don't pee on people would flow from that because that is an asshole thing to do.
Yeah, please don't do that.
You know, don't put certain substances in people's drinks and then proceed to be intimate with them, particularly when they are not conscious for said intimacy. That is an asshole thing to do and illegal. Um, but I feel if you're following Jay's philosophy, doesn't even occur
Nope,
to
it doesn't.
do that. It
It
does.
doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, you don't do that.
See, just stick with me, fam, and I'll learn you something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think also, to the celebrities are one thing, but I really feel like just as a people, start putting your morals first, right? I mean, listen, is it nice to have money, right? Yes. Is it nice to be able to do things and go places and, I guess live out what you would consider to be your dreams because you're with someone or associated or employed by someone who's powerful and rich? Yeah, I can get it. I get the allure. But, you need to stay true to yourself too, right? And have morals and, you know, be brave enough to stand up to someone if you see them doing something that's wrong to other people. We need more people like that. If we had more people like that, more of these other folks wouldn't be able to do what they're doing so freely and so easily.
I agree. I think it's obvious that I agree with that. Um, it definitely, yeah, we definitely need more people like that. Uh, it I don't know. Morality, unfortunately, isn't profitable. Uh, but at the same time, my response to that is so what? So what? Because we've seen what happens when 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 we prioritize profitability, whatever profitability looks like to you, over doing the right thing, doing. I'm people have different ideas of what moral is, but just like objectively moral things, uh, like not drugging somebody to drink, I think is objectively moral.
Absolutely.
like there are things I think are just objectively moral. Um,
Absolutely.
and the world would definitely be a better place if those things took priority or were prioritized. So I say all that to say, be good out there, boys and girls, because we just need we need more moral folks out there.
They
So
do. It's sad that we even have to say that, but that's the truth. It's the truth.
so we were supposed to get into our next set of of celebrities, particularly. Uh, I think we're gonna try to hit up or not hit up, talk about Whitney Houston, DMX, haha, and Matthew Perry. But we've been talking about this fool Nicki for like an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exactly how I would describe her. I don't care what the barbs say. That's who we don't talk about the barbs. They can fight me. I don't care about them.
Barb's always want to fight. That's why I said. That's why I'm like, I feel that there's a difference in liking her music, or if you like some of her stuff, and being a Barb for sure. Because yeah, they're ridiculous. It's almost these fan bases are like cults.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like just seeing what they defend and to the extent that they defend it is like, wow, wow. Um, I don't know, but and again, I know to a degree we kind of not all, but a lot of us have like a parasocial kind of attachment with our favorite celebrity. But yeah, Barb's are especially kind of crazy.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, for sure. They do some crazy things I've seen. But, I think that some you I feel like sometimes she knows that her fan base is very powerful, and I feel like sometimes she kind of incites some of the things for them to do too. Because she'll flat out just say, "Go do X, Y, and Z." She'll just put out a post and say, "Go, go show this one this, or go do this, or go do that," and they just go do it.
Oh yeah, she definitely weaponizes her fan base, and that's one of the criticisms that folks have for her, that she does this. She'll say or do something um, abhorrent, and then when she's called out on it, she sets the barbs on whoever, because how dare they criticize her, no matter how harmful her words or her actions are.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's and it's, if these idiots would stop and think for a second, they would understand. Okay, well, something she said or did is actually something that would is harmful to the barbs. Like, you have, certain, there are black women who would defend her to the death, even though she champions people who, like I said before, are anti-black and anti-women.
Exactly.
She has a very large um, LGBTQ community following,
Very, very.
and some of them are just ride or die. And even in the face of, again, uh, maybe not her direct behavior, but like I said, championing other people who are very open about being anti-gay, anti-trans, anti all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like what kind of cognitive dissonance do you have to have to to, to do this?
Right. That's the whole thing. That's why I'm like, so, is it fandom or is it tribalism? Like, what is it?
I, I don't know. It just it's very weird. Because they ain't getting no money from Nicki. So I was like, y'all doing all this for free. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
shade.
all for free.
Like, there's a lot better ways to waste your time.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it'd be different if it's like, oh, this whole. I mean, is she giving things away all the time? Is she doing special things for fans? I don't know. If she is, I might be missing these things. I mean, she's not. She's just telling you to support me in whatever it is I say or do. That's what she's doing. She's saying, I want you to support me. I mean, sometimes I feel like how we were speaking of Doja Cat last week, and we were saying how she was a little aggressive to her fan base at one point. I feel like Nicki can be aggressive with the Barbs at times too. If she feels like she doesn't have control, or if she feels like they're not doing something that she would like for them to do, or if there's an outcome that's not desirable for her. Yeah, she gets a little aggressive with them too.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I would say don't like Doja is aggressive in the sense that she goes after her fans. Like, she puts them down. She insults them.
Yeah.
I like Nikki actually like uses them as a tool to like do her bidding, and like
Yeah, she does.
yeah, like I said, she actually weaponizes her fan base to hurt other people, whereas Doja just hurts her fan base, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, I mean, what Doja did was definitely worse. But at times, if she gets angry, she'll go on a rant with them too and talk about
Mm-hmm.
the same kind of stuff. So it's just all about I don't know. I just feel like I don't know if it's good to have that kind of fan base. I don't know how healthy it is for them or her overall. I'm talking about the ones that are real deep into it. Those folks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
who knows? I mean, I know every celebrity has like, a group of core fans. I mean, God forbid, they used to pass out over Michael Jackson. just flat out pass out. I mean, at the sight of the man. So I get it. I know that happens, but um, I just feel, yeah, weaponizing them, I think, is just taking it a step too far. I mean, support, but don't go to hurt other people.
I wonder what Michael Jackson's hive would be called.
Yeah, because back then they didn't have names. That would have been interesting. I don't know what they would have been called.
Set out to the folks. Folks, what do you think his hive or his fan base will be called?
Yeah.
I personally think it would be called the Thrillers, but that's just me.
Okay. The Thrillers is all right.
Yeah,
They can't be the Jacksons, so
yeah, that's taken.
yeah, that's taken. The Thrillers. Yeah, I would have to think about that one.
I might post that on Threads.
Yeah, I'm curious. I don't know what people think that Michael Jackson's. I mean, because yeah, you could ask for yeah. What would Prince's fans be called?
I don't know, but it probably has something purple in it.
The purple ones, purple.
The purple.
It's got to be purple. It's got to be something purple. But yeah, I just when you said that, I was like, wow. I just thought about it. Yeah, because back in the day, they didn't have that kind of stuff. So you got to think like, what would these people? What would they be? We're gonna come back to that one. I'm gonna think of a good name for the Michael Jackson crew. I'm part of that crew, so let's see. What should we call ourselves? We'll think about it. Let's put it out on social media and see what people say. You'll get some good responses on social media for sure.
I think so. Well, all right, folks. I think we're definitely going to get into the other celebrities in future episodes. But for now, as always, food. Because it's time to eat.
I mean,
So, as always, thank you for chilling with us for a little bit while we talk some shit. And hopefully talk some sense into some folks. But check us out next time. As always, take your peace seriously, and we shall see you on the flip side.
yes.
Bye, folks.